How you doing? What's the next episode?
What
Panda, say
the
hi.
fuck? What intro was that? And hello.
Shit. You really? You want to talk shit? You want to talk shit?
Where are you go? Don't you dare blow up this fucking car.
I don't think it'll let me. I have a green X on it. So, oh well. One can. Okay. I was gonna say.
Why did you decline the mission?
Because I was gonna blow it
Fucking
up.
no, cancel.
We're good now. We're good. Oh,
I'm gonna do Kenzie.
uh, smiling jacks again. For fuck's sake.
Meow. So, I was thinking that in this episode, uh, we could talk a little more than the last episode.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe let's talk about our hobbies. What's your hobby? Good old alien, sir.
Uh, gaming. Yeah, seems legit.
That that's it. You need to talk more. Jesus.
Well, I mean, obviously, all the games on my channel are games I enjoy. I mean, I don't usually play games on my channel that I'm not into, so there's that. That
Hmm.
one's kind of a given, obviously. Um, Mass Effect will eventually be coming to the channel. Knights of the Old Republic still needs to come to the channel because I announced that ages ago and still haven't done it because I'm a lazy fuckboy, apparently. But
Hmm.
wait,
Whoopsie.
so, wait. Speaking of Knights of the Old Republic, because that reminds me of a conversation me and you had, Panda. Didn't you say you've never played Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, no, never played it.
We're doing it. We are recording that together, and
Oh
you
God!
are going to
You just did what every guy does on a public proposal.
what?
You just publicly stated that that's what we're doing on the channel for all of your viewers to hear, and I have no choice but to say yes. Just
I know
have
it's great.
fucking
It's
men
great.
with rocky relationships propose
Oh
to their girlfriends
wow.
in front of everybody. So she has to say yes.
Oh my god, this cutscene though. But god damn it.
They're broadcasting from an undisclosed location. Well, fucking disclose it. I might be able to triangulate where they're shooting if you go to the broadcast tower.
God. Yeah, but no, seriously, like Knights of the Old Republic is like the only. I believe I know I've told you this at one point, but I'm gonna say it again just so I have the satisfaction of saying it on camera. But like Knights of the Old Republic is the only Star Wars thing outside of the movies and of course like the Disney, Clone Wars and stuff that's canon still from the old, universe, and it's so good. You need to play it. Or at least watch it. You genuinely need to. Like you are missing out on some great shit.
Okay.
Like I think you will genuinely love it cuz it's made by the same people that made Mass Effect, BioWare before EA took over, if I remember correctly. Right? Right? Yeah. So, it's
Jesus,
written
okay.
so it's one of BioWare's first games and it's so good.
Okay.
And it's the story about one of, if not the ultimate fan favorite of the Star Wars community, and it's great.
Okay then.
I don't want to spoil it because you seriously need to fucking watch it for you. Like if you can't play it yourself, you're gonna watch me stream it on Discord while I record it, and that way I can have your reactions for all to see, and it's gonna be a fun time for me.
Jesus, okay.
Because I know all the Star Wars fans watching this are literally hearing that you've never played it, and they're all like, "This bitch right here, this bitch doesn't know."
Why?
because
Why?
it's amazing. You don't understand. I know there's at least one Star Wars fan who heard that and was like, "Wait, come again?" And then I said it again and confirmed it, and they're like, "This fucking bitch." Especially since everyone here knows you're a
Jesus.
Star Wars fan. Even not the new ones, but the new ones are not that good. But the old stuff, though,
No.
old stuff.
Oh yeah, hardcore fan of the old stuff.
Yeah, I love. I mean, I like the new movies. The new movies are not that bad. The only one I hate is Rise of Skywalker. Fuck that movie and all it loves. It's the only like that
I
that
just,
one I couldn't
it,
forgive.
I don't. Hate is a strong word when it comes to the new Star Wars movies. I'm not gonna sit here and say I hate them. I'm an old-fashioned person, and I'll watch the first, uh, season for TV programs or the first movie in a franchise, and I can't watch a remake of it. It just doesn't feel right to me.
Well, I
You
can
know?
watch a remake if it's handled properly. Like, don't do that shit like they did with Nightmare on Elm Street when they remade it. That wasn't even a proper remake. They did way too many creative differences to where it's, which to a point in a remake I understand, but with the remake you need to be very tame on your creative changes, because if you're doing a remake you have to keep in mind, especially if you do this remake that's many years after the fact and you can't have the original actors reprise their roles, like Robert Englund, for example, playing the original Freddy. If you're going to remake it and he can't reprise his role, which kind of makes sense, considering how old he was at the time when they were making it. I believe, I don't know if he was able to quite fill that role. That right there, when you consider how many goddamn, sequels from the original Nightmare that they made, like Dream Warriors and Dream Child, etc., like that, there's
Mhm.
way too much of a reputation that the new actor has to live up to, where like where you can't change Freddy because most people are going to see, oh, it's a different actor. Oh, well, screw this guy, because they already have that bias from the old movies. You know what I mean? So that was the problem I had with the new remake of Elm Street, is because they got a different actor and didn't even do a good actor, in my opinion, that could be Freddy. Then they changed the design to where he looks more like a zombie than a burn victim. And then they did way too many creative changes where now instead of a child murderer, which is not good anyway, now he's a child rapist.
God.
So it's like, what? You
Yeah,
know.
that's not good, is it, really?
Yeah, so there was too many changes to where like you couldn't even really enjoy, So
Yeah.
it's bad. Well, like if they literally just remade the first Nightmare on Elm Street just with better CGI, and obviously they changed the art style back to the older art style a bit, just fleshed it out a bit more and made it better because of the CGI. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's things you could have done where I could have been like, it's obviously not as good because the old one was just amazing all around, but so
Yeah.
yeah. Approach the broadcast van. Target the broadcast van. I think we need to get closer.
I'm trying.
Damn.
Whoa, we fucking went into a tree. Did you see that?
Oh, that's funny.
God, that was fucking close, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get you with that. And yeah, just for me, I just like old, the old stuff, the original versions of things. And it's not that I think the new stuff is bad in some cases. It's just for me personally, I like the original actors, the original everything. So I don't really. I give things a go. Of course I do. Like I've watched all of the new Star Wars stuff, but it's just not been for me.
Well, I know a lot of the Star Wars community like does not like the sequel trilogy, and I love the first two, Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Like how I approach it is I understand where a lot of the old fans, like my brother, who's older than me, like he's, like 28, 29, and he's grown up with the old Star Wars and the old lore and everything. You know what I mean? And I can
Yeah.
understand why he would be like, "Wait, you just literally made everything aside from the movies and Knights of the Old Republic and like Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Rebels. Now that, but made everything that's not those non-canon, and all the lore that we've grown to love gone. You know what I mean? Just all of a sudden invalidated. And I can see why. Like if you're literally going to do that, you need to deliver top-notch movies. And I can see based off the arguments that the sides are giving why that they haven't done that and why they think the new movies are shit, and think that's justified. I can completely see where they're coming from, but for me, and granted I have a bias because I don't know anything about the expanded lore other than Knights of the Old Republic. That's pretty much it. The only thing I know is basically the movies, and that's about it. And so I guess I have a fresh way of looking at it in a sense, but for me it's like, okay, they made everything with the exception of Knights of the Old Republic and Clone Wars and Rebels non-canon. So unless there was something in the movies, which I don't remember a specific part of the movie where they talked about hyperspace and how that works, to me, that I was like, okay, that means they have creative liberties to do certain things differently, like the Holdo maneuver, which a lot of people disliked. I mean, it made sense to me, but I can see why a lot of people don't, like that. But it made sense to me, and I don't know anything in the lore that was still canon at the time that said that that wasn't a thing, you know. And then of course, there are
Yeah.
things. And then, like my brother said, like, how did they manage to make a Star Killer base when there was like little to no kyber crystals left? There are genuine plot holes, worse so than the other movies where it's like, bruh. And I get that. We're going back to the helicopter, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I'm gonna have you fly since you've been flying so far. But yeah, oh fuck, Shawnee, you bitch, took my fucking spot. So apparently my dude wants me to get in on the other side, apparently. Fuck you, dude. Alright, cool. Anyway. But yeah. But it's like, I get where a lot of the people are coming from, but I think part of the reason why I'm so forgiving of the first two movies is because I don't know a lot of these things. And because of the fact I'm trying to look at it more of a business perspective. Like, hey, they're a new company. They're trying to, restart the series, fresh start. And, so like, I kind of get it.
Yeah, me too.
What the hell? That was bizarre.
Very bizarre.
You alright?
I had him.
I know. It's not your fault. Something weird happened. Ah, shit.
Fucking Matt. Fucking Matt.
Mhm. Oh, 36 back.
I'm at 34 still. But yeah. It's like my brother always criticizes, like, dude, the first two Death Stars nearly bankrupted the entire Empire's money from taxes and shit. Because, of course, there had to have been taxes. And then nearly just, took literally every kyber crystal left in the galaxy. There's little to none between the two Death Stars, and then they managed to make a planet-sized Death Star. That can murder 5 planets. It was so like there are genuine things, the genuine criticisms about like Force Awakens, for example, where I'm like, you know what, you make a very good point. I can see why you don't like it, but I still see it at the end of the day as a movie. And again, there's a lot of people that don't like the prequels, while I personally love the prequels. Um, you know, and I'm looking at it from the perspective of, if there's a lot of people that don't like the prequels um because of like, creative decisions, or because of the story, or because of Jar Jar, for like, there's a lot of people that didn't like
Yeah.
the prequels, and I understand how Disney decided to practically rip off A New Hope with Force Awakens, and I understand that, because they have a really high expectations, a high bar to set, and they wanted to play it safe. And I understand that from a business. You're buying a property that was not yours, and you have to put trust in the people. And I saw what they were doing with Force Awakens, and even though from the lore perspective it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because there wasn't a way to really do what they did, but at the end of the game, it's a fictional world. It's a movie, and again, that they own it, they can retcon certain things. I mean, an easy retcon would be like, no, there was more kyber crystals than are initially thought, or something. Like, there's very easy retcons to kind of justify that. That they could do. So it's like, okay, fine. I'll forgive a couple plot holes because there are ways you could retcon this now that you own the license. So fine, whatever. Especially since they made everything else non-canon. You know, like the comics. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, Force Awakens, I'll forgive Starkiller Base, even though it makes no sense. I'll forgive it. Blah blah blah. Right? And I thought it was a really good first attempt, and kind of like nostalgic. Like old but new in a way. You know what I mean? New as in a new way to retell the first movie, being Episode 4. And but new, and you get what I'm saying. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last Jedi for me was like, okay. I mean, I would have much preferred them to get rid of that stupid casino bullshit with Finn and Rose. That was kind of pointless, but
Yeah.
but okay. Well, not really pointless, but it was still kind of like, bruh. Killing off Snoke was like, wait, what? Okay, what, huh? And then of course the Holdo maneuver, which me personally, I didn't really see a problem with it because I don't remember there ever being a time where they said that this couldn't be possible in the old movies or what was canon at the time.
Stag is using Nightblade as their mascot.
Yeah.
Snatch the punk, and we draw out Stag. Set it up right, we get the drop on those motherfuckers.
Excuse me? Can you sign this?
The fuck is this? Dude, it's Johnny's comic. He sold his likeness to KOTOR. They're making a movie out of this shit. Remind me to call Legal Lee about this.
Thank you.
All right, so how do we find Burke? Chump could be anywhere.
That was great.
Hey, he'll come to us. That's why I need you
I
to
know.
a new girl.
My name's Viola.
Your name's the Bloody Canoness.
You can't be serious.
Works for me.
It's funny because that's the outfit I'm wearing too. The Bloody Cannon that's literally the name of my outfit. It's great.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's funny. That's so funny. Oh.
I feel ridiculous.
Oh my lord.
Oh, I'm
Dude.
not in clothes.
Like a slut. What did you get a master's in?
Jesus Christ. Oh lord. You drive because I'm still talking about my There's a car right here.
I know, but I wanted a better one than that.
Oh,
Oh,
my
let's
lord.
go in this one.
Oh, we're only 18 minutes in.
Are we sure Burke will even be at the PR center?
I met this clown. He's probably on set doing lion face, lemon face right now.
He that serious about his work?
Anyway.
No, he's that deluded about being
Anyway, so like I understand
believe me.
why people don't like the new trilogy. I understand. And there's some things about Last Jedi that I'm kind of like, what? But same thing like I do with Force Awakens. I'm like, well, there's a lot of, things that are not canon anymore. And again, they own it. They can retcon certain things. All right, fine. So, and I loved how they handled Luke Skywalker. I think it makes perfect sense considering, I mean, think about it. He was born and immediately lost his mom and dad. Was raised pretty much on the assumption they're dead. Watched his aunt and uncle die. Didn't really watch him die, but found their burned carcasses. Obi-Wan died, and then, redeems his father for him to die, and then his entire Jedi Academy dies and lost Kylo, his nephew, and feels like he is what ultimately made
Yeah,
Ben
he's
turn
been
to the
through
dark
some
side.
shit,
Yeah,
has
he's
he?
been yeah. So I think how they handled Luke. I mean, sure. I mean,
Somewhere.
you could still make a couple different changes and still have it work. I'm sure, but I think that they handled it very well. I don't, it makes sense to me personally. I think it makes sense because of basic psychology. He's still a human. I mean, it is a movie, but I do like movies that are very grounded in realism when it comes to psychology, regardless how sci-fi, all that shit, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. And then of course, yeah, like there was a few little things like why would you kill fucking Snoke when you still have one more movie to make with him? Like there were things. It was not as good as Force Awakens because there were things that I couldn't forgive as easily. But I thought it was still a good movie. And then Rise of Skywalker happened, and I'm like, no, no, just no, no. I'm sorry, I can't find anything to forgive here. I'm sorry. There's no, no. Like, I mean, one or like if you give me to me 3 strikes you're out. I'll give you 3 what the hell moments that I will not take into account when I judge because everyone's human and it's corporate. Mistakes happen, weird things happen. Fine, whatever. But when you get me to a point where literally in the theater I literally do the what the fuck face literally every 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most through the entirety of the movie, you fucked up.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
You know what I mean? And that's how Rise of Skywalker
Yeah.
was for me. There was literally way too many what the fuck moments, like every 5 minutes, where I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
What's going on?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And
I
it
know
also,
what you mean.
yeah, like trying, like, and I think part of it was they were trying to retcon things from Last Jedi while also trying to continue the story, and then they brought back Palpatine in a way that makes no goddamn sense, and it was bad. Like, I like.
Yeah.
I wish I had a picture of this.
Like I can't talk about Rise of Skywalker. It pisses me off way too much. That's the only movie out of the trilogy where I legitimately just can't. It gets under my skin because I saw it in theaters and I'm really sad about it because it was so bad, so fucking bad. Like I will defend Last Jedi and Force Awakens all day, every day of the week, But like Rise of Skywalker can go fuck itself. I refuse. Like how people say that's better than Last Jedi, I don't understand. Like, if that is a them, because I'm sure someone has, and I don't see it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it goes against its message that they establish at the beginning about own up to who you are when you find out who Rey is, but then turns around and says she's a Skywalker at the end. That makes no sense. When you're trying to own up to who you are, either that or I just missed the bigger message somehow. I don't know. Palpatine being alive makes literally no goddamn sense. Really, they didn't really explain that, and then they retconned it later. They freaking killed Kylo when they didn't need to. And I wanted them to become a couple. I wanted him to be redeemed through love and actually have something his grandpa didn't have with Padme. Like I wanted Reylo to be a thing. I know a lot of people. I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans that are gonna watch this at some point and be like, "Hell no!" But I don't care. I wanted that very much, very much. I thought it would have been great. And then you killed Kylo, but you didn't even do it the way you should have. Like you watch Kylo break his back, full on break it. He hits a rock at full force before falling down a massive pit after being force sucked by Palpatine. It's force drained, but I'm gonna call it force sucked because I can.
Use your imagination, honey.
But so and you mean to tell me he survived that enough for him to crawl out of that hole, weak as hell, revive Rey just for them to kiss, and then he dies in her arms when she died from
Yeah.
literally defending against Palpatine's lightning. I don't get it. There's way too many, and then it pulls an Avengers Endgame, which is like,
Really?
which was like wow, just literally, which was funny. I like that. It was kind of entertaining. And then horses on a Star Destroyer when all they have to do is tilt and they fall off, and they didn't do that. Like, there's so many moments that that literally no amount of thought. Like me and like it's the only like my brother hates all like the first 2 movies in the sequel trilogy. Like absolutely hates them, and I absolutely love them. So we've been disagreeing, but I when I went to theaters with my best friend, and he still has not seen Rise of Skywalker, and I told him that I hated it. That right there told him, "Oh fuck, oh fuck," and he doesn't want to see it because he's scared. He's scared of how bad it's gonna be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. It's just, oh
No,
my
neither
god,
do I.
it's just so bad. It's so bad. Although it was kind of cool how they're like Ahsoka's voice was in there when Rey got up, and there's a lot of
Me, Monica Hughes.
it was awesome.
They have Burke. I assure you, ma'am, we'll get him back.
Nightblade's return. That's awesome.
Yep. I'll tell you what, we definitely achieved something this episode.
What, talking a lot more by quite a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it was all about the same subject too. It was basically me shit talking the episode 9. Why don't they literally just make a movie out of Knights of the Old Republic? I mean, that is probably one of the few games where I would be completely okay with them literally just ripping the entirety of the game
Fuck
and
you.
making it into its own movie. Like, just straight up rip it off. Just flat out rip it off. Especially after the disastrousness of Episode 9, I'm completely okay with that. Just literally make Knights of the Old Republic into a movie. Just exactly from the game. Just straight up rip it off, and I will be 100% okay with that. Anyway, we are currently at 26 minutes and 37 seconds, so we're about to meet our 30-minute time limit. You motherfucker. I don't give a shit that you're I don't give it. Please let me
No,
shoot you.
this is my car. This is my car.
Oh, God damn it.
I called in the car.
God damn it. Oh, Lord. Anyway, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Hell yeah.
Bye.
Bye.